Okay, so here it is. We have the Mixed Bag Show with DJ Pro and myself on indiesoulradio.com. Also going out on T-Rex Radio in Canada and Soul City to Beat in Italy, and also on YouTube at some point in the future. But right now we're going audio, and we've got special guests in the studio. A little bit of favoritism here, and you might find out a little bit later. But this band, this new band, been going a couple of years actually, called CONGFUSION. Nothing to be confused about, but CONGFUSION. We have Ryan and Hayley. How you doing?
Hello.
Hi, good, thank you.
Yeah, very good, thank you.
Good, glad to hear it. That's good. So we've got some good news. Now, I have a particular interest in this band, and I'm going to confess right from the start of the interview, and yes, it is favoritism, because I'm in the band. So, you know, it's like, well, I've got to start somewhere, haven't we? So we've had all these other people. We've had the OJs, we've had Lenny Williams and Lisa Fisher and all these wonderful people. Now we've got CONGFUSION, even more wonderful, I think. What do you reckon?
Naturally, yeah.
Of course. So what we're going to talk about is there is a new single coming out, and there's quite a few reasons behind releasing this single, some interesting history on it, and also the group. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewind, and we've had Ryan on the show before, live in the studio. He actually came round when I was broadcasting a little while back when we were talking about the new album. Now we're talking about a new single for the new year. And Ryan, you're going to tell us about the single. Could you?
Yeah, I mean, how me and Hayley met is we used to be in this orchestra. It goes back a long while.
We went to how many years? A few years, like
yeah,
a couple of years ago.
Yeah. It used to be a school band, and it was run by this guy called Cy Payne, and he's synonymous with loads of records. He's been on recorded for Decca Records back in the day. He used to work at Mills Music on Denmark Street, and Elton John was his T-boy. And he arranged the music for not the 1980 Bolero for Torval and Dean, but for their world tour. He arranged their music for them, and he worked closely with them. There's a very good interview on YouTube about it. But we used to be in this orchestra, and then it became a town band, and then through all my years, he sort of mentored me basically and said to me some various different tips about the music industry. And one of these tips was like, you know, most of these pop songs, you take away the words and it hasn't got enough melody to stand up on its own. And that always stuck with me. So fast forward many years, and I was playing in a hotel in London, in Knightsbridge, and I used to do quite a lot of music. And there was a single that came out by this band called Clean Bandit in 2014. And I thought, this is quite a good tune. It's got enough melody there, which if you take away the words, it will stand up by itself.
Yeah.
And the chords weren't all predictable. So I thought, okay, I'll just, I had to throw something in to keep people interested and relevant to the current day. So I put this one in my set. And as I was playing it, I just started feeling this groove, this Afro-Cuban, like, what if it, and it fitted, it worked as a Afro-Cuban groove. So I used to play it in my sets, and then it was around this time that I'd started a jam session in Deptford, and I had a few musicians together, one of which, it goes back, I was in a pop band called Siren from Norfolk, and we played in London once, like 2007 or 8, and then I met this guy there called Mamadi Kamara. And my brother spoke to him and said, you've got to speak to this guy. He's played with the Jazz Messengers. So I briefly met him during my gig, and then we didn't even keep in touch. But randomly, when I moved to London, started playing with this guy called Giorgio, who knew Mamadi, and we ended up playing together. So I was great to be reunited with this guy, and he brought all the African instruments together, and I then asked him if he'd be willing to play in a jam session, and he did. And then we ended up recording a song which was Rather Be, and it was pretty well recorded, but the vocals needed a bit of a polish. So shall we say? And then years later,
so you thought you'd ask me?
I asked Hayley. Yeah,
it was a pandemic. Weren't many people available, so
too humble. Come on.
I mean, me and Hayley have been doing gigs. Many years since that orchestra. We worked together. We did a gig at the Snug in Cambridge.
Yeah, we must have been. I think I was still in school when we first met in the orchestra.
Yeah.
Wow. So kind of brought us together, didn't he? And then you and I have always been in contact because we've lived in similar areas and bumped into each other all the time in London. And yeah, it's a lifelong friendship, really, isn't it? Can't get rid of each other.
There you go. It was meant to be, wasn't it?
He's very often, I get asked about, oh, your husband plays piano. I'm like, oh, he's my stage husband. Ryan is my stage husband.
Yeah, it's funny because that gig that we did at the Snug is, I'm now working with doing a gig with another singer in Bedford, and some of the songs she's chosen, I felt one was missing, which was Dindy, and you introduced me to that song.
Dindy's a great tune.
Yeah. Was it Antonio Carlos Jobim?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's right. And there's some great versions. There's a John Lucian version, which is amazing, and a few others as well. It's just, wow. Yeah, love that song.
Lovely song, yeah. So, so I asked Hayley. She said, yeah, she'd come down. We re-recorded the vocals, and it just like...
It was such a strange experience, though, wasn't it? Because it
was in the pandemic,
literally drive to a studio, get your mask on, get in the booth, take your mask off, sing your bit, put your mask back on, kind of like drive home. It was very strange, in and out, wasn't it? Everyone kind of did their bit, and it's only now that we get to like meet all the rest of the band, which is really lovely.
And it's also funny because that same weekend we managed to record the whole album, The World As We Know It.
Yeah.
On the Saturday, and then the Sunday all the rest of the band went home, and you came in and recorded Concussion on that album. Yeah. And then I also got Hayley down to re-record the vocals on 3 singles that are unreleased.
That's
which were from 2015, which Mamadi played on.
Amazing.
And then we found out the sad news that Mamadi had actually passed away in 2018.
So sad.
So that was a bit of a shock. So yeah, what we want to do is we wanted to dedicate this tune to the memory of him by releasing it, and then we've actually got a picture of his photograph of him playing at one of those jam sessions in London on the artwork.
Oh yeah. So, yeah, awesome. No, that's a really good journey, man. I mean, it's funny because how we met originally was in another band. So, we talk about how people meet. It's just crazy. You can just be on a circuit. You could live miles away from each other, but the circuit is so small. You're up in Norfolk, aren't you, right now?
Yeah.
And we meet on the London scene,
Yeah.
It's mad. And then obviously, Hayley, you've been up and down the country, have you, quite a bit?
Yeah, I work currently in a school in Boston, so I'm way up north. So it's weird to hear somebody refer to Norfolk as up. It's like, I always think it's down. But I think the circuit is quite small, isn't it? And you bump into people, and I've worked with people and done recordings, and they've said, "Oh, you know Ryan McCaffrey?" And I'm saying, "Yeah, I know Ryan McCaffrey. We grew up together," and it's like,
I'm famous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because the people who I first met when I went to my first jam in London, I still there's two guys come to mind. I mean, Giacomo, he's the bass player who I think actually, he did teach at ICMP.
Yeah, I think so.
You know,
that's the thing.
that's
where
weird.
You go,
Yeah.
Oh, you know that guy? Yeah, you know that guy. And like, there's so many. Like, you've worked with Tara, who I went to. Her and I were the same year. Like, Tara's a singer who you worked with, and the circuit is really small, isn't it?
Tara from the Disney ships.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, I didn't know that. Right. Yeah, crazy.
Oh, well.
Crazy. Yeah. So
That's awesome.
musicians I've continued working with since moving to London, and then having to move back, and then working on cruise ships, going away, coming back. And then weirdly enough, like that band that we were in, Function, which was again 2008 when I first moved to London.
That was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
We played really good gigs, really good. Like, that one in Norway still
That was crazy. What a crazy gig that
down
was.
as the craziest gig I've ever done. Hands down.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I'd agree with that as well for me.
Somewhere in the back of my memory.
No, it's just weird because like we were originally asked to perform in this little town hall, and it's just like a wooden building, like typical Norwegian fine building, but it wasn't that big. And then we got asked to do a gig in the middle of the lake on a man-made island.
We didn't know it was going to float out to the middle, did we?
How'd you get
Started floating out to the middle. These engines started up, and then
they had a boat towing it, and then they had like this sound system, really big sound system,
just you guys
on the island,
lake.
in the middle of a lake, surrounded by snow-capped mountains, being invaded by pirates, and the water actually came over. They had to move the sound system away from the water, which was
it was getting wet.
getting close to the generator.
And then above our head, we had skydivers jumping out of a helicopter.
That's right.
Oh,
That's
God.
right. I'm not joking. And one
And
of these
just nuts. And then
gigantic
they
flag.
start dancing. These pirates jump on board and start dancing.
Didn't see that.
Yeah, they were dancing behind us. It was crazy.
You
Right.
you don't always get to see everything, right?
I think
No.
it's too much of that Long Island iced tea.
And that wasn't
One
just
whole-
it. Yeah, the sheep's head and the
Barrel.
eyeballs. Oh, man.
Yeah, and then we were offered their delicacy by one of the Olympic gold medalists
That's right.
who came on board the island and started offering us sheep's eyes and sheep's tongue.
Oh, nice.
It was pretty hideous. Yeah, it wasn't the best thing ever. But see, that's crazy, isn't it? Look at that gig. That's like, I still think that's the weirdest gig I've ever done. And that wasn't even the proper gig. That was a warm-up gig for the big tent.
Well,
wasn't it?
that's it. And then we ended up, to top it off, they were supposed to have Earth, Wind and Fire experience featuring Al McKay.
Yeah.
And they didn't turn up, and they offered them every single method of transport, even including landing them in the lake on a seaplane.
Oh, God.
And we ended up doing the headline slot.
Yeah, we had Breakestra supporting us. It was mad. Just nuts. But wow.
Yeah.
And now it's all
Here we
about
are.
confusion now. They come forward now and we're doing some crazy stuff now. We've done the Rye Jazz Fest International Jazz Festival. Now
Yeah.
we've got an amazing gig coming up as well, another one. You wanna
Yeah.
Tell us all about that.
Well, I've been trying to play in this venue for over 10 years, I think, originally I had the Ryan McCaffrey Sextet, which was the first sort of format of my bands that has since become CONGFUSION about 10 years later. And this band was featuring lots of Cambridge musicians, including a bass player called Tiago. I've got to get his surname right. I always get it wrong. Coamo. He's Brazilian. He studied at Berkeley. He's now in a very good band called Resolution 88, who I really admire. And he's actually going to be playing with us on this gig.
And he's just a generally nice guy, and actually sometimes I think that's the thing, like the people you meet, like meeting you as well, like everyone's really lovely. And I think there's this thing of like people think there's lots of competition, but I think like saying like we met in this band and you were playing in that band at the time, like that's amazing that, you know, it's like you become like this little family through
it is
music.
a family.
Like Tiago is such a nice guy. We went to Cambridge last week and had like
Yeah.
a drink, and he had his family with him, and
Yeah.
you know, that's really lovely. I always feel comfortable to bring like my children to stuff where you guys are as well, which is great.
Yeah. I mean, me and Tiago, we've had a few gigs, interesting gigs as well. Like we played with one of the former Drifters. We had a gig, well, a couple of gigs actually. I mean, one of them
Ray Lewis, was it?
Reese Cannon.
Oh, okay, yeah. Wow.
You know?
No, I've heard of him.
Yeah. He lives in Huntington, and we used to like gig with him a few times, and then got this amazing gig in Germany. We drove all the way to Stuttgart, taking it turns. This was when Resolution 88's first album came out, and he was playing it to us in the radio, Tiago, on the way there. And yeah, it's just like these connections, they're just really, really strange. And
yet we all seem to end up back in London, don't we? We all end up back in London, like, yeah.
I'm trying to gravitate away from London now. It's
so expensive. It's living in London. It's so expensive.
Yeah, it is.
Getting there is as well, and parking there.
Can't get there at the moment. Not on a train.
Well, apparently not. This is it. I mean,
we'll have to fly there for January. We'll have to fly there.
I'll get a boat.
Yeah.
I'm coming in dark.
Yeah. So yeah, this gig is featuring him. It's featuring you. It's featuring Hayley. We've got a few other great players. There's a gig in Russia I had to depth for this amazing saxophonist. I didn't realise how unbelievably amazing he is. The guitarist on that gig told me you should go and check him out. So I went to Knightsbridge, I checked him out. He's playing with Jim Mullen, and his name is Roberto Manzin.
Hey,
if you haven't seen
Roberto. Yes.
Yeah. If you haven't seen him, just on that level, you should probably go and see this gig, because he's played with James Brown. I mean, not only that, he's played with loads of amazing jazz artists, but
well, he's about to play with CONGFUSION, so you know.
Yeah, that is a step up, I think, definitely.
And not only that, he features. He has an amazing solo on Rather Be, which is the new single.
Yes.
Which we are releasing. So
I'm so excited. It's my first release where my voice is going to be at the front rather than in the background. I've done loads of stuff backing vocals, and then somebody said, yeah, but would it be will you be able to stream it? And I was like, yeah, you'll actually you'll be able to say I don't want to say it too loud because I'm going to set off my smart speaker, but say to a smart speaker, play you this song, and then it's going to be that's your voice, isn't it? That's going to be really strange.
Well, you've already been playing on a few stations now.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
It's unbelievable that you actually haven't been really heard before. So
now's the
time.
My neighbours hear me all the time.
Yeah,
they're not fans.
What?
I think during the pandemic they were probably fed up of hearing me because everything was virtual, wasn't it? I think my neighbours must have been like, oh goodness sake, here she goes again. What's she singing now?
They'll be your best friends from now on.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
They all want to know who we are.
So
it does feel like it feels like there's an energy and a real vibe around what we're doing this time, doesn't it? It feels like everything's kind of coming together, and the band seems to have gelled quite well. I'm really excited to rehearse it as well, and to get everybody in the same room.
Yeah.
I'm also really nervous. I get so nervous, more nervous at the rehearsals, I think, than anything. You'll see me get there and just be like, oh, hello everyone.
It's really strange because you put on this persona. We did a gig at somewhere in Cambridge.
I think your stage persona is really different to your
you put on this kind of front where it kind of overcompensates, and it sort of makes you portrayed to be a really confident person, but underneath you're probably,
oh my goodness, always shaking, always my feet.
It's the same with me. Yeah. Yeah.
Best trick ever. And at university, it was one of the things that someone was like, you shake your leg, you like tap your foot to the beat all the time, but it makes it look like your whole body is wobbling, like your leg is wobbling. And someone said, it makes you look really nervous. So best trick I've ever been taught is just wiggle your toes in your shoes. Always wiggle your toes in your shoes, because no one can see that like nervous energy. Whereas it used to be like my whole body would go. You'd see my leg go, and then it would be my whole body would go, and it's like the spirit of jazz has taken over my body. It's just
Spirit of jazz.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I tell you what, one thing, I mean, will probably make that all go away is having the confidence and the actual, what's the word? Let's say someone particularly well known within the music industry who Andy knows very well has paid you the biggest compliment.
There you go. Oh, yes.
I think those compliments, though, you kind of shrug them off, don't you? I think Ryan does the same thing. Like, I've seen so many people walk up to you at a gig and go, oh my goodness, you're amazing. And you just go, yeah, like, I'm okay, aren't I? I'm all right at what I do. I think
there we go.
Like, the humble musicians are the ones I like to work with. Like, as soon as someone's like, I'm absolutely blooming amazing at this, and you're thinking, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my wife, we're talking about my wife, Gina. She's a accomplished singer in the USA, but she's got a bit of a fan base here. She's done very well on the independent soul scene, so she's quite well established. And when she heard your voice on that song, she said, oh, she's got a great jazz voice, this girl. So there's a prop there straight for you from my wife. She liked your voice. As soon as she heard it, she said, oh man, yeah, she's doing it here. So there you go.
The thing, isn't it? Like, I remember being introduced to jazz, and the first jazz record I ever listened to was Ella Fitzgerald, and just thinking, oh my goodness, like, this voice is amazing, but this voice is like mine. Like, I hadn't heard this voice of, like, I'd been conditioned to, you need to sound like Britney Spears, or like, not this big soulful voice of Ella Fitzgerald. So like, who's this woman? And suddenly, like, I had to go out and find CDs back in the day. When you had to go and buy CDs, you just couldn't like stream it and stuff, and finding like albums and vinyls and finding a sound or a genre that you love singing. Just love jazz. If we can do some Ella.
Oh yeah. I was listening to her. I want to
ever beat Ella
on the way to my gig last night, and it's just like
she's
incredible.
Incredibly talented.
She wanted to be a dancer. So I've done a bit of an Ella Fitzgerald nerd. I've done quite a lot of research on Ella. She wanted to be a dancer, and she wanted to go to a talent show, and she wanted to audition to dance, and they wouldn't let her dance. So she thought, well, what I'll do then is I'll sing, and that'll get my foot in the door, and then I'll show them I'm this amazing dancer. And they were like, so you'd have never heard her voice.
Wow.
Had she not gone, oh well, I'll just audition by singing. Like, I'll do a song. Can you imagine the world never having like been introduced to that voice?
Well, it's the same as well, it's not the same, but Nina Simone also.
Yeah.
She was supposed to be a classical pianist, like a really.
That's right. Yeah.
She applied she applied to study at the top school in I think it was New York, and they said they said that things were different back then, and they said no, we're not letting you in. Obviously it was to do with racism,
my university did the same thing to me. We're not letting you in. I took my entrance exam to my uni. You don't know this, do you?
No.
I shouldn't really put on an international radio show. I am quite good at like improvising. I think this is why you and I work really well together. We're good at improvising. And not so great at like all the music theory and stuff, and like my musical education didn't really start till I was like 14, 15, so failed some of the sight reading parts of my exam, and had to kind of say like, please let me in, because I really want to do this, and managed to like talk them into taking me, even though I failed the exam part of the university entrance. And it's like, sometimes things tend to happen. I think you and I keep bumping into each other. There's a reason for that.
No, it's got to be.
Definitely. Well, what we're going to do, we are going to wrap up, but before we wrap up, just want to say give you guys a chance to say one last thing each, and then you're going to tell us all about the gig and the details of how people can book it, etc., or when it is, all of that business. So from you, Hayley, I'm going to say, how do you see yourself? It's a really boring question, actually. How do you see yourself in 10 years from now as a singer?
As a singer, hopefully still gigging, because all of the stuff I do in my everyday life is I'm kind of behind the scenes. I would like to think we'd have played Ronnie Scott's. Can you imagine? My whole life, it would be. I don't think my mother would ever stop crying to start with. I think my dad would probably also never stop crying. Yeah, to have played Ronnie's, to done a bit more recording. I don't know. I would say be the next Adele, but you're setting yourself up.
The sky's the limit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Brilliant.
Yeah, just to work some more gigs, do some more recordings. I think recordings are a big deal, aren't they? They're there forever. Whenever they are, they'll be there.
Leave your stamp.
When my kids have kids and their grandkids, and they can say, "Oh yeah, that was Nanny. That was Nana." Before she lost her mind, she started, going completely mad. Yeah.
Love it.
More recording.
What do you mean? Before?
Ronnie Scott's. Before she lost her mind. She's already lost her mind.
You have to be a musician.
Yeah, Ronnie
There you go. And I'm going to ask Ryan a similar question. Where do you see yourself in 33 seconds time?
33 seconds time. I think we're
In
going
my
to be
lounge,
probably changing another nappy on Henry, or maybe doing recording for our future gigs.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of Christmas ones.
Got a few gigs coming up as well. Me and Hayley. Yeah, but I just want to say though, something, a compliment to Hayley, is that with Hayley's voice, I don't know how else to put it, but her, she enunciates every word. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. I understand you. Enunciate myself, but
I think she
enunciates better than I could ever
I
dream
sing
to.
better than I speak, for sure. I can sing words that I can't say.
Right.
I can't say. Millennium, I have to concentrate. I can sing it, no worries. Speaking, no.
But you can hear every single word whenever she sings.
Yes,
and
you can.
She has a huge range. You can give her a song in any key and she can nail it. So
awesome.
That is quite the challenge, isn't it? People are going to be writing into you now and saying, get this girl to sing this. Can she sing this top third?
I love that. That's awesome.
I'm looking forward to hearing this gig coming up, and Hayley making her debut on the London
me too. It's going to be awesome. So we're going to leave now, but we're just going to tell us all about where people can get tickets, the date of the gig, what time we're playing, or what to expect. So
we are on the 15th of January. Get your diaries out. 15th of January next year, 2023. And we are on at 1 p.m. Doors open at 12 at Pizza Express Jazz Club in Soho, London. You can get your tickets from the actual Pizza Express live website. If you just type in CONGFUSION, and we have more details coming up about more surprises, which I'll keep secret for now, but that's going to happen soon.
That is the beauty of a surprise, though, isn't it?
I know one of them, but I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just going to keep it to myself and just laugh. So, right, I just want to say a massive thanks to you both for giving up your time. I know you're both mega busy. And I look forward to our listeners, the ones that are able to make the gig, getting there and making the gig, and also hearing this single, which we're going to play in a second.
Which will be out on the 20th of January, and you can pre-order it from Apple Music on the 6th of January, called Rather Baby.
There you go. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
You're listening to Indie Soul Radio with DJ Prone, spinning the best independent soul school tunes. It's Indie Soul Radio. Let us put you in the mix.